Hi, welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 259. I'm Lisa, Fiber Nymph on Ravelry. On Instagram, you can find my personal account as Fiber Nymph. My business account is Fiber Nymph Dye Works. There's a 90% Knitting group on Ravelry, which is where I'll post my show notes. There's a Fiber Nymph Dye Works group on Ravelry, which has all kinds of fun stuff about my yarn company. And lastly, there's the Fiber Nymph Dye Works page on Facebook, which is where you can follow and, well, if you like the page, you can get all kinds of information that I post there about both the podcast and my business and where I'm vending and any such things that might come up. So, how are you today? Today's Thursday. It is October 5th. I actually thought I would probably end up recording a little earlier this week than I did, but it's worked out that it's Thursday, so it has actually been a week since I talked to you last, so that's good. I don't know why it matters, but it's nice to be consistent. As you will notice, I'm back outside in the front yard. I know the last time I recorded from here I said, oh my gosh, I will never do this again because of all the road traffic that's kind of right behind our privacy fence there, which was much more than I had anticipated it being. But you guys all said that it was not at all noticeable, or not very noticeable. It wasn't a distraction for you, I guess was the thing. Not nearly as much as it had been for me because I was worried about it being too loud. And several of you said that it was like your favorite location that I had recorded in so far. So I decided to come back out here today because it's sort of an overcast day. It's actually nice. The temperature is nice. I don't know what the temperature is, to tell you the truth, but I was going to look for my phone and tell you, but I don't even know where oh, here's my phone. Like you need to know the temperature, right? 63. It's 63 degrees this morning. But it's a nice, cool 63. The sun's not out, and that was the other reason. Well, that is the reason why I'm out here, because the porch room is the lighting is a little weird in there when it's like this. So this seemed like a good choice for where to record. Plus, you might get a Tippy cameo because I can hear her back behind me. So she's undoubtedly going to end up in this tree above me at some point. And Muffin's over here wandering around exploring. So it's just a nice morning to be out. I love these kind of fall mornings that, you know, you can be outside in a sweatshirt and just enjoy life. Because in another month or two, it's going to be way too cold for this. And you won't see me outside. Oh, there she goes up that tree. I have fiber or something in my mouth already. I was doing stuff with fiber and yarn for the shop update earlier today, and the fibers, just, you know, fiber is fiber. It likes to get places. Okay, let's see. Anything else administrative that I need to talk to you about? I don't think so. Let's get into the knitting. It's been another really busy week. You're pretty much going to hear me say this all month because this is going to be an insanely busy month. But I did manage to find some time to knit. Not a ton, but enough to have something to show you. I'm trying to balance my coffee mug here in front of me on a chair. My setup's a little precarious, but it's working. All right. So the thing that got the most attention this week was my hero cardigan. I'm going to finish this. I'm going to finish it. But anyway, I want to plug away at this because I really do want to see it done. I did finish the second sleeve, and I have now added it to the body of the sweater. So I have, I've got it on 2 different needles right now. That's why all my little rubber bands are on there. This is what I use to keep needles from sliding out. It works really well, and it's inexpensive and easy. So anyway, I have lots of, oh, that's just a strand from the ball in the bag. All right, so here is the sweater, and here in the center is my steek stitches, here, that I put in for where I will cut it after I've done all the color work. But both sleeves are on it, and I thought, oh good, I get to do the fun color work part now, but no, because you have to do there's a round you have to do after you put your sleeves on to either increase or decrease to the appropriate stitch count that you need to be at. So I've done that round, and then you have to knit 5 more rounds before you start the color work. So that's where I'm at now. I think I have like maybe 2 more rounds to go, and then I'll be able to start the fun color work, because I really, really want to start the fun color work. That's like, I'm dying to do that. In the meantime, though, once I added the second sleeve and I was starting to knit those first couple of rounds, I was looking at this and I thought, oh my gosh, it seems huge. I don't know if you can tell how wide that is, but it just looked gigantic to me. And so in the process of knitting it on to the second set of needles, that was the other thing. I realized that I had the body on US 5s. I don't remember if I mentioned this last week or not. I think it was to accommodate my purling, which is looser than my knitting when I was working on this flat, to get the right gauge. But then even once I started working it in the round, I was still using the 5s. So I think it's fine. I'm not worried about it. But since I'm going to be doing the color work next, I know I need to go up in needle size, or else it's going to really pull in and be too tight. So I started knitting it on to 7s, because I think that'll be a good gauge for the color work. So anyway, as I started to do that, I got halfway around and I thought, you know what, I'm going to put these rubber bands on and I'm going to try it on as it is, because I was just really afraid that the body part of it was going to be super, super big. So I put it on as much as you can when a sweater has no top to it at all. And I, pulled the sleeves up to where they should be. And the body, it comes up to about, armpit height right now. So it's hard to really tell how it's fitting because everything's just very loose. But I kind of pulled it in on the needles and snugged it up the way I anticipate that it will be snugged up once I've done the top and the color work. And I think it's going to be fine. It was not nearly as huge as it was looking to me, just holding it and looking at it. I knit it purposely so that it would have a lot of ease from like the bust down, because I don't want my sweater to be super tight. I didn't want it fitted. But I think it'll fit really well once I do all the color work and the decreases up here. I'm optimistic that it'll be fine. So that's where we're at with this. The only other thing I can tell you about this is, as I am still contemplating the color work part of it, because again, I'm doing the color work yoke in 5 colors instead of just 3 the way the pattern is written. And the one color that I know I'm using is this blue that I did on the bottom of the sleeves, which I love this blue. This is Letlopi. All of the yarn that I'm using is Letlopi, which is an Icelandic singles yarn. Let's see, I have all the tags in here. The gray is color number 0058. I don't have the tag for the blue because that blue is in the house and I had stuck the label back around it when I was done with the sleeves. The thing is, the way the color work is written, once you start the color work, you don't go back to your main color, although I will probably use that main color for my button bands. But you don't use it again in the sweater. But the top part of the yoke, like you do the color work from here on up to here in the color work patterning, and then from like here on up to the collar part, the neckline, you're supposed to do all in one color, and it's the same color that you've done your cuff in. And since I only have 1 ball of each of these contrasting colors that I'm using, hence I'm using 5 instead of 3, I knew I was not going to have enough to do this, this color up here. And the more I thought about it, the more I knew I really, really want to have this color up at the top because I think it's going to look really, really nice. So I got on the Woolly Thistle website last night and I ordered 2 more balls of just this color. I was so well behaved. I didn't order anything else from that website, because that's hard to resist. So I have 2 more balls of this blue coming, so I will have plenty to do the top part of the sweater in that color. So I'm really happy that I made that decision. I think it'll be the sweater I want it to be if I have that. So Okay, so that is everything going on with, oh, there's Tippy behind me. She's so crazy. Anyway, so that is my Hero cardigan. Again, the Hero is Hiro by Julia Farwell Clay. And I'm really enjoying it, and I can't wait to have it done, even though, again, I keep saying this, it's not going to be cold enough probably to wear that for a while, but I don't care. I want to have it done, and I'm so looking forward to getting to the color work. I wish I was having more time to knit. Sorry, I think I just bumped the... Now I have Icelandic wool in my mouth. I just bumped the computer. Sorry. Okay, so that is what got the majority of the work this week. Now, if you remember when I recorded last week, I was having sock conundrums in a major way. Well, I've worked through my sock conundrums. We'll start with this one. I've actually really not knit on this anymore because of said conundrum, but this is the sock that I'm doing for my son out of the Patton's Croy Effects. And last week I explained that my big conundrum on this was I only have 2 balls of it. And being a heavier weight yarn, more like a sport weight rather than a fingering, and they're 50-gram balls, I knew I was not going to have enough to make socks for him. It did not dawn on me, obviously, until I was well into the sock that it was going to take more than just 2 balls. So I asked you guys what you thought I should do, and I did get a lot of good suggestions, you know, anything from starting over, knitting toe up, so that way I knew how, you know, far up to knit the cuff. And that's a good idea, except I really don't enjoy doing toe up at all. Some people recommended maybe striping it with another color, which that could work, but I don't have any other Patton's Croy on hand that would go with this. And then there were some other suggestions, and they were all very good, but in the end, I decided I really, really like this yarn and this color and this sock, just knitting up as it is, plain stockinette. I really want to be able to do the full-sized cuff that I always do for my son because he does like the higher cuffs. And so I got online and I ordered 2 more balls of this. That was like the really simple and obvious fix, quite frankly. And I know a couple of you private messaged me, and I have probably not responded to you yet because, again, it's been a really busy week. I will respond, but if you offered me yarn, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that offer. But what I ended up doing, I was Google searching to see where I could find this yarn, because I originally bought this from Craftsy, which I'm trying to think. I bought this and the other Patton's Croy Effects that I've already used, that purpley color, and I had bought 2 colorways of Arnie and Carlos yarn, not the holiday one, or the one that I was using as holiday socks. That's my next project I'll talk to you about. But they were 2 50-gram balls, and I've knit both of those up. So anyway, I don't remember when I ordered this yarn, if it was this year or no, it must have been last year. It was last year sometime because I knit those Arnie and Carlos socks last year. Anyway, I didn't think about the fact, well, why don't you just get back on Craftsy and see if they still have this in stock, because I figured it's been so long they maybe didn't. I've never purchased yarn from Craftsy before other than that one time, and I really just don't know how much they go through their stock or how quickly or what have you. But anyway, since I could not find this colorway anywhere else, frankly, I did get on Craftsy, and lo and behold, they did have some in stock. So I have no idea if it'll be the same dye lot or not. And even if it's not, I'm thinking it may not be that big of a deal. So we'll see. My plan, now that I have 2 more balls coming, and they should be here probably next week sometime, is I'm going to continue knitting this sock with this ball of yarn, and I'm going to go as far as I can go with this ball of yarn. And then once the new yarn comes, I'm going to judge whether it's significantly different than this dye lot, or if it's close enough. And if it's close enough, then, well, you know what, either way, I'll have to make my ultimate decision once I see the yarn. But I'm either one of 2 things. I'll either just knit this first sock out of these 2 balls of yarn that I already have, and knit the second sock out of the other 2 balls of yarn that are coming, if I think they're a close enough match. if they're not going to be in a close enough match, what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit this sock through this first ball, and then I'll finish the sock with one of the second balls. And then I'll do the same thing for the second sock. I'll knit the first sock out of the first ball, you know, the other first ball that I have, and then do the rest of the foot in the other second ball that I have. Did that make sense? I hope so. That sounded really confusing as it was coming out of my mouth. Either way, you know, when you add a second ball of this yarn, it's really hard, at least I find it difficult to blend it in so that you don't see a line where you join, at least not without winding off a lot of yarn to try to get into the same section, because it's, you know, it's like a barber, there's barber pulled sections where there's, you know, a blend of colors going on, and it's just not always easy for me to match that up. I'm gonna let this big noisy truck go by. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try to make it as non-obvious as possible in the transition, regardless of which balls I end up using together. But I figure it's on his foot, and nobody's really gonna see it except him when he's putting the socks on and off, so I'm not super worried about it. I think it'll work out fine, but in the end, the best answer was to just buy more yarn. And I probably don't need a full 2 balls. I probably could have gotten away with 1, but I figured if I was ordering them, I'll just order 2. If I don't end up having to break into the second ball, then I will offer it up as a prize or something in a future giveaway. So that was my answer to that conundrum. But thank you to everybody who offered their input in that, because you had some very good ideas, and I always appreciate hearing your insights. Okay, so my last thing that I've worked on this week is the other sock that I was having the conundrum about, and the only conundrum with that was the fact that I wasn't crazy about how the color was knitting up. So this is the Arnie and Carlos, I don't even remember what color it is, so I have it in my sock, my notes. Yes, the design line 03760. And what I had said last week was, when I've seen this knit up before, it looked like there was a lot more white in it than was showing up as I was knitting it. This ball of it seems like it has a lot more darker gray, and I just wasn't liking it. I was going to knit these for myself as Christmas socks for this year, because the colors were just different enough that they would be unique Christmas socks. So there's negative knitting here, as you can see. I do still love the red, this orangey red, and this tealy blue-green there. But again, the amount of darker gray that was coming up, I just didn't like. So rather than ripping it out completely, I showed it to Bill this morning, and I said, hey, do you like these colors in this sock that I'm knitting? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, awesome, I'm gonna make them for you then. So he likes his socks to have a ribbed cuff, and I was doing this in 3x1 rib. And so I just pulled the needles out, I ripped back till I got to the ribbing, which I'd actually done further than I usually do ribbing. I don't usually do this much ribbing. I mean, I've only added like, I think 2 rounds to it since I put it back on the needles, because then Tippy came along and wanted to play with the yarn, and it's just not worth the hassle of trying to knit with her around. So, anyway, these are going to be for Bill. I told him, you may not get them super soon just because I've got a lot going on, but you'll get them eventually. I think I'm going to try to maybe have them for him for Christmas. You know, they'll be a nice Christmas gift, and he loves his hand knit socks. So yeah, I'm glad that I don't have to just rip these out completely, and I'm glad that I'll have a use for the yarn, because like I said, I wasn't happy with it for me, but he likes it, so yay, they'll get used. And I like knitting 3x1 rib. The funny thing is, though, I started doing it over 60 stitches, and that's an odd number of stitches. I mean, not literally odd. It's like not odd versus even, but it's a strange number of stitches for me to use for a 4-stitch repeat. Like if I do 2x2 rib in a cuff, I generally do 64 stitches. I mean, 60 stitches works, but then you end up with a different number of stitches on one needle versus the other needle unless you divide it right in between that repeat. Do you know what I mean? at any rate, it doesn't matter. I'm working it on 60 stitches. I'm going to continue working it on 60 stitches. And I may do some sort of increasey thing to add. No, I probably won't. I don't know. Once I get to having to do the heel, I'll figure out what I'm going to do. It's not going to be a big deal. I mean, I can just, I'll probably move stitches around and have 30 and 30 instead of 34 and 26, which is what I have right now for the heel. Whatever. It'll be fine. But that's, yeah. So really the only progress that I've made on this was negative progress by ripping it out. But I feel like it's progress to know that I'm going to be able to knit them for somebody instead of just ditching them altogether. So that's it for the knitting this week. I wish I had more knitting time and I wish I had more fun things to show you, but this week, that's it. So let's move along to the knit along because September's now over and that means that the summer quarter is also over, and so that means I have got prizes galore to award this week. And that's the other reason I decided to record out on this swing today, because I have a lot of space out here where I can sit and I can sit all my stuff, and that worked out really well. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run down through the list of prizes that I'm offering for the September prize winners. We had 579 eligible posts for prizes. That was after subtracting my posts from September. So I, again, offer one prize for every 50 posts. So that was 11 prizes. I think that's what we had last month too, or did we have 12? I don't remember. Anyway, so there will be 11 prize winners for the month of September for the general chatter part of the knit along. I also have the prize winner for the September challenge and for the summer quarter, but I'll announce those afterwards. So let me show you the 12 prizes that you will have to choose from, because I always give you that extra one just so that everybody has a choice. So I've got my little basket here. Okay, I think this is maybe the second month that this is going to be a carryover prize, and I'm just baffled because I think it's really pretty and I think it would make a lovely item or gift or a challenge to knit if you've never done this before. But this is the Cheerio knitted and beaded necklace by Laura Nelkin. This was donated by Christine, who is a group member and a participant of the knit along. You get the yarn that you need as well as these beads, and it's in this really pretty color. It's like a nude color. I think this would be so elegant for like at the holidays. I don't know. I just think it would be beautiful. But anyway, I'm including this one more time, and if we don't get a taker on it this month, I think I will use it for something else at some other point as a prize. But anyway, the Cheerio necklace kit, that is one prize option. And then other prizes that were donated, this is one of my outdoorsy kits, but it was actually donated by Maria, who is Seductive Berry, who's another group member and has been participating a lot in the KAL. She wanted to donate a couple of my outdoorsy kits. So this is the one that we're using for September, and this is the fingering weight version in the After the Harvest colorway and deep red. And this includes a pattern code that you can download the pattern on Ravelry. So this is the, headband, neck warmer, ear warmer, cowl, multiple uses. So that is the second prize option. Another donated prize this month was a really generous donation by one of our viewers and also a participant in the KAL, Ms. Melody. She offered, she wanted to send me some yarn from her stash, and they were beautiful skeins, and they are from Dream in Color, and this is Smushy. Look how beautiful this blue is. She sent me 3 different skeins, so you'll be seeing those each of the next couple of months as well. This color is called Walking the Gangplank, and it was exclusively dyed for the Loopy U, so this is a Loopy U exclusive colorway. But isn't it beautiful? I love Dreaming Colors yarn. I used to use it a lot. I haven't in a long time. But this is 100% superwash merino, 450 yards. And it is just very, very soft and smooshy. So anyway, thank you both of, well, all three of you, Christine and Maria and Joanne, for those donations. And we had another prize donation, which is Danita, who is Inagata Danita, who is another KAL participant and viewer, obviously, and she is offering any pattern of your choice that's giftable through Ravelry up to a $7 value. So that is another prize we have. So thank you, Donita. I'm so thankful when people offer prizes up like that. It's not at all necessary, but it's very, very appreciated, and just, you have my heartfelt thanks for that. Okay. Moving along to other prizes. This is a really cool item. This is a 1-yard Nitty Naughty. I got this in my my goodie bag when I was at SSK one year, and I already have a small Nitty Naughty, so I don't really need to, so I thought this would be a good prize. I've never used this one. This was by Katrinkles. That's who made it, and they make a lot of really cool wooden things. So anyway, a 1-yard Nitty Naughty is up for grabs as a prize. And then I went into my stash, but not my yarn stash for this one. This is a hand spun prize. This is some hand spun that I did. Really fun colors. I hope the colors are coming out all right. You know, I realized, and maybe something just fell in my hair. I always say that things look off and really blown out. I think what the problem is, I have no brightness control on this laptop, which I didn't realize when I bought it, that there's no way to control the brightness. It's really kind of a pain in the butt, and I think that's why things look blown out sometimes for me. Okay, that was an aside. But anyway, this is fiber the fiber was from Fiber Addiction, and the colorway was Vintage Ornaments. So it was a holiday colorway. I've got like my little cheat sheet that I stuck in the yarn, so I knew. It's about 85 yards. I would say it's probably a heavy worsted, like a worsted, heavy worsted weight. And it includes merino, Corriedale, superwash Corriedale, bamboo, and Angelina. So there's some sparkle in it. But it's just a super fun little colorway that you could use with another skein of yarn to knit something, or knit something small with it. Because 85 yards of a worsted weight, I mean, you could do something with that. I don't know. But I thought it would be fun because it's a nice, fun, holiday-ish colorway. So that's up for grabs. And then I have a skein of, this is from my regular stash, Drops Fobble. You might recognize this because I knit myself a pair of shorty socks out of this yarn. And that was one of those things where I bought 2 skeins, but I really only needed 1 skein to do the socks that I did. So the other skein is up for grabs. So you can definitely get 1 pair of shorty socks out of this. And Drops Fobble is a, let's see, where's the contents? Content, 75% wool, 25% polyamide. Hi, Winnie. Got Winnie here. Another one of our kitties. And it is 224 yards. So, and I wear my shorty socks that I made out of this all the time. And this is a wonderfully hard wearing yarn. So, okay. Next up, also from my stash, and this is from Deep Stash. These are 2 skeins of Plymouth Tweed in this wonderful pumpkin-y bright orange color. I love Plymouth Tweed. I used to knit from Plymouth Tweed all the time, and I used to have a huge stash of it. I've used most of it up, but these are 2 skeins that I have left, 2 balls of it, and so I'm going to put them up for grabs. It's 100% virgin lamb's wool, and it is a fun speckly tweed. It's orange with like some pink and yellow flecks in it. It's a really fun color. There's about 109 yards per ball, so about 218 yards together. And yeah, so 2 balls of that. That is 1 prize. Next up, and this is a little bit different. I bought these a while back and then changed my mind about the project I was going to do, and so I never used them, and I'm not sure that I ever will use them just because I don't really crochet a lot, but it is a set of 4 acrylic crochet hooks. and they're quite large. These are from Doris. I got them at Pat Catan's. So there's an L11, M13, N15, and P16, which are 8, 9, 10, and 11.5 millimeters, respectively. So if you crochet and you crochet with particularly large yarn, or you would like to do that, this might be a really good set for you. So I'm going to put those up for grabs. Okay, the next prize is a little different. This is something that I picked up when I was at TNNA, and I actually got a package. I think there were 6 of them. It's a pom-pom, and it's a really fun, fluffy pom-pom. It is raccoon. Now, when I bought these at TNNA, I was kind of in a frenzy because it was like their not make and take, but like there's like a shopping night that you can just shop and get samples, like not everything from the vendors, but like most vendors will have like a small array of things that you can purchase, like cash and carry, basically. And so I went to this booth that had these pom-poms, and they had a variety of different colors, but they're all raccoon. And the woman there was quite the saleswoman, because she had me talked into buying these before I even could think. And I like them. They're really fluffy, but I'm not sure how raccoon fur is harvested. They're from Turkey. They're made in Turkey. So that's up to you. If you don't have a problem with raccoon fur and you'd like a nice fluffy pom-pom, then maybe this is a prize you would like. And if you do have an issue with that, then I totally understand that. But I thought I would put it in there because, like I said, I've got 6 of them. Actually, I think I gave one away to somebody else already. So I have 5. And I'll probably use one eventually because I don't know. I just don't know. But they're really cool. They're fluffy. So if you're okay with a raccoon pom-pom, then you might like that. Okay, next prize up is also from my stash. And this is a fiber prize, so you need to be a spinner or know somebody who spins if you would like this. This is some fiber from Gail's Art. And this is also from an SSK goodie bag. When you go to SSK, you usually have the option of purchasing either a skein of yarn or a braid of fiber, or one of each if you want, that's done in a specific colorway for SSK by one of the vendors usually for that year. And for whatever reason, I got one of each. I got yarn and the fiber in the exact same colorway. And so I don't really need both. But this is from Gail's Art, and it's 100% Polworth, 4 ounces, and the color was SSK. This was from my very first SSK, so that was however many years ago that was. But it's really soft and squishy. Polworth is a wonderful fiber. So if you're a spinner, you might like that. And lastly, number 12 is any 2 of my patterns from Ravelry. Any 2 of my paid patterns. I will gift you 2 of those. So as I have been doing in the past several months, I will put a list of all of these prizes in the episode thread in the show notes. And then as the winners claim them, I will mark them as claimed so that you can keep up with what's still available as a choice if you're one of the winners who doesn't get back to me right away. So I would say whenever you write to me, if you're one of the winners, please let me know your top 5 choices of prizes. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you who the prize winners are. Again, we have 11 prize winners, and I'm just going to read through them. I'll tell you what post number and then who the winner is. Please hold your applause till the very end. All right, the first winner is post number 1596, and that was Graybell, who is Amanda. Second prize is post number 1477, who is Another Yarn 9, and she doesn't have her name on Ravelry, so Another Yarn 9, congratulations. Next winner is post number 1589, and that is Skyly Knits, Amanda. Congratulations. And some of these, again, are repeat winners because we have a lot of repeat participants, so it makes sense that we'll have repeat winners from month to month, not within the same month. Okay. Next prize is post number 1581, and that is Manda B, who is also Amanda. So of our first 4 prize winners, we have three Amandas. Okay, next up is post number 1207, and that is PA Knitwit, who is Sarah. Sarah has been taking part in this knit along so much. So congratulations, Sarah. Post number 1576 is our next winner, and that is Inagata Danita, who also offered one of the prizes this month. Post number 1620 is L. Mikal, who is Linda, so congratulations, Linda. Post number 1188 is Tie-Dyed Hippie, who is Pamela, so congratulations, Pamela. Post number 1406 is our next winner, and that is Christine, who is Iona Paint, who also donated a prize. Post number 1701 is Crafty Nia, who is Andrea. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, so congratulations, Andrea. The next prize winner is 1586, and that's Frugal Knitter, who is Diana. I can't read my own writing. I'm pretty sure it's Diana. And lastly, we have prize winner 1176 is the post, and that is Deb Mom of 3, who is Deb. So let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh my gosh, do I have 12 written down here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I do. I have 12 prize winners. Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I've already announced them. And so we have 12 prizes and 12 prize winners this month, so there will not be an extra. You're getting a bonus prize this month because I cannot count. Prize winners, all 12 of you, please contact me. Let me know your full name, your mailing address, and your top 5 prize choices, and I will get your prizes sent out to you as soon as possible. Okay, so now moving on to the September challenge winner. I did not write down how many entries we had. I'm sorry, but the prize winner was number 15, and that is Knickknacks. Again, her name is not on her Ravelry page, so I would just say Knickknacks, congratulations. You have won. Let me get to it. I have it in a bag right now. It'll be packaged a little more neatly when you get it. This is another hand-spun prize. It's a collection of mini skeins of my hand-spun. So there's 5 different minis here. It's about 195 yards altogether, and they're vaguely all about the same weight. Not that you would probably want to use them all together, but they're fun for like making like little birds of happiness or small stuffy things, or adding stripes to hats, things like that. So congratulations, Knickknacks. Send me your information and I will get those mailed out to you. And lastly, we have the summer quarterly winner, who is, oh, well, let me tell you what the prize is. This is the last bag that I have from Bags by Dennis. Dennis was kind enough to donate several bags to us this year, and I've been using them for the quarterly prizes, and I saved this one specifically for this month because it was very autumnal looking. So it's a really beautiful project bag, this really pretty autumn colored fern detail, and then on the insides it's really pretty red lined fabric. So it's a nice size. I would say this is kind of like a medium-sized project bag probably. So the winner is going to get this, and I will dye either a skein of yarn or a sock blank to coordinate with this bag. Winner's choice. You can let me know if you want a skein of yarn or the sock blank, and you can tell me what yarn base you would like it on. You can choose from Bounce, Bedazzled, or if you'd rather have a heavier weight, you can get like a DK or worsted weight. It's up to you. Or either one of the sock blanks. I have the sparkle and the non-sparkle, so you can let me know. Anyway, so the winner for this, and this is coming from the entire summer quarter, is WKS25. That was post number 650, and that's Wendy. So congratulations, Wendy. Write to me and let me know your mailing address and information, and whether you would like yarn or a sock blank, and which one you would like. And I will get this dyed up for you and sent out. So congratulations to all the winners from September and the quarter. We're in the last quarter of the knit along now, the winter quarter. No, the fall quarter, sorry, the autumn quarter, which will be October, November, December. And yeah, so I hope you guys continue taking part. It's, you know, I'm enjoying it. You're enjoying it by the participation that we've got. The October focus again is cleaning out and organizing stash. So our October challenge is to craft with deep stash. Oh my goodness, Tippy. She's tossing around a dead mouse. Anyway, at least she didn't like drop it here in front of me. She left one on my car earlier today, and for all I know, maybe it's the same one. I don't know. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, craft with deep stash. So you're using at least 50 grams of yarn or a 1/4 yard of fiber or fabric. And we're just going for some of like the oldest stash that you have. It doesn't have to be the very oldest, and it's completely subjective, but whatever you deem to be really, really old stash, use it up, put it for the challenge, and you can do whatever you want with it, make whatever you want, as long as you meet those 2 little parameters. So that's it for the, I can't stop watching her do this. She's being so silly. Okay. Moving on, as far as other drawings, we still have the drawing for the seed stitch book that I reviewed last week. I'm leaving that open 1 more week, so I will announce the winner of that book next podcast. So if you'd like to enter that, you can still do that. Wonderful book. If you didn't get to see the review of it, check out last week's podcast, and the timestamp menu will tell you where it is if you just want to hop to that and watch it. Okay, I did actually have 2 new things I wanted to show you, but I forgot to bring them out, so I'm not going to show them to you. I'll show them to you next week. Basically, it was the 3rd issue of Len magazine, which I've never gotten before, but I pre-ordered this one from the Woolly Thistle and got it. It's lovely. I will show you that next week. And also, I ordered, as I have the last few years, the Shetland Wool Week book that they have for every year's Shetland Wool Week. So I have the 2017 one. It's full of patterns. I think there's more patterns in it this year than there have been in the past. So I will give you a glimpse of that next week as well. All right, moving on to 10%. Nature Gone Wild. I've lost track of how many critters we've dealt with this week. Unfortunately, the flying squirrel from last episode did not make it. We tried. We never heard back from either of the wildlife rehab places. My hunch is that if they get calls about critters that they know they can't do anything for, maybe they just don't call back. I don't know. But we tried, and yeah, he passed away Saturday morning, so he has been buried, and feel bad, but you know, at least I know he's definitely not suffering. He never started eating, so anyway, but in the meantime, we've had at least 3 dead mice, 1 dead chipmunk in the driveway, 1 live mouse I was able to save that Tippy carried in. Tippy is turning out to be quite the predator. You know, that's the downside of cats. You love them, and they're soft and fluffy and fun, but basically, Bill and I were talking about this, you're harboring carnivore. I mean, they are definitely hunters, and you have to deal with that. So, yeah, but she had brought in her first, she has been bringing in grasshoppers. Oh my gosh, it's so funny because I've never seen a cat hunt grasshoppers before, but they were nice in her size. And so I kept rescuing grasshoppers and tossing them back outside. But then the other night, I heard the telltale sign of something being batted around on the steps. And lo and behold, she had carried in a little mouse. It was a little Tippy-sized mouse, a little white-footed mouse, but it was fresh and very healthy. And so I shooed her away, caught the mouse, and it got relocated across the road. But since then, this is the one she's tossing around in the driveway right now is number 3 of the non-living mice. I'm not sure that she's the one killing the bigger ones, though. I think she might just be finding somebody else's prey. I'm not sure. For all I know, this could be the same dead mouse that I've tossed into the woods. And she's just going and retrieving it. I don't know. But yeah, we came home yesterday and I found a chipmunk in the driveway. And the other thing I found this week in our dining room was a chipmunk tail. Just the tail. The owner was nowhere to be found. I have no idea what happened to the owner. But there's the chipmunk tail. Gotta love living with cats. I figure once it starts to get really cold, this will probably slow down. But anyway, In other news, the back porch at my house is looking really, really nice. Bill has done such a lovely job. We finished putting up the soffit underneath it this past weekend, and he's been painting it. He cleaned the concrete pad, like the floor of the porch, because it was very stained and dirty and weird. So he's been cleaning that, and it's such a lovely area now. I'm sad that I'm not going to be the one to get to enjoy it, but I think it'll really, really help when I go to sell the house, how nice it looks now. Let's see, what else? I'm listening to a new book. It's called The View from the Cheap Seats by Neil Gaiman. It is a collection of speeches he's given, essays, articles he's written, intros to books he's done, like forewords and stuff. I'm not a huge Neil Gaiman fan as far as reading his fiction. I've actually never read any of his fiction, but I listened to Norse mythology earlier this year, which was his retelling of a lot of the Norse myths, which he read, and it was fabulous. I loved it. And so when I saw this book come up in Audible, I thought, I think this would be really interesting. And what I'm loving the most about it is the fact that a lot of these things that he's written and the speeches he's given are, they surround the genre that he writes in, for one thing. And so I always love listening to writers talking about writing, as far back as I can remember, especially when I was actively writing, working as a freelance writer. That was like inspirational to me, to listen to writers talk about their work or their process or their inspirations, things like that. And that's basically, again, fuzzies. That's what this book is full of. And he's wonderful to listen to, not just because of the accent, but he's got a wonderful sense of humor that's very subtle, yet it's like slightly self-deprecating, but not obnoxiously. Anyway, if you are somebody who loves the written word and loves books or libraries, because that's another thing, a bunch of the earlier essays in this, or speeches that he read, were ones that he had given in support of, reading, childhood reading, encouraging kids to read, encouraging the use of libraries, why libraries are still relevant, and things like that. It was very good. I loved listening to him about that. And then other ones talk more about, his work and his writing process and projects. But they're all things that he's already written and he's just reading. So it is a collection. Some of the things I kind of get a little lost on as far as focus, because they're much more related to, sci-fi and fantasy, the genre, and other writers in that genre. And that's not the genre that I typically read. I like those kind of movies, but books I've never read a whole lot of that way. And so I don't know a lot of these authors that he's talking about. So those aren't always as engaging for me as some of the other essays. But overall, I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm most of the way done. I need to pace myself because I'm enjoying it so much. But anyway, other than that, I think that's it. So I am going to pause because I do have a shop update coming this weekend, tomorrow, Friday, the 6th of October at 6 p.m. I'm going to pause and go in and get the stuff that's going to be in the shop update and show you. I couldn't bring everything out at once. Plus, I didn't want all the shop stuff sitting out here potentially with Tippy going after it. So I'm going to get that. And if you're not going to stick around for that, that's perfectly fine. I will talk to you next week. But if you are, just hang on. I'll be right back. Hi, I'm back. And we have a change of location. I started to record the shop news section and my battery died when I got partway through. So I had to come inside so that I could plug the laptop in and finish this up. But I'm just going to start the shop news section over from the beginning rather than trying to splice it together from outside to inside. Mainly because I'm not entirely sure that the one that it cut off in, if it was even, if it recorded correctly. I don't know. I don't know where it ended. So we're just going to start over. Let me start by announcing the winner of the third quarter Fiber Nymph Dye Works finished object drawing. And that was post number 70, who is Michelle. Ravelry name is Michembry, Michembry. So Michelle, congratulations. When you hear this, please PM me and I will get you your $25 gift certificate code that you can use in my shop at any time. I have started the 4th quarter finished object thread in the Fiber Nymph Dye Works group. So if you finish knitting or spinning or whatever, anything out of Fiber Nymph Dye Works yarn or fiber in the months of October, November, December, please post your finished object in that thread and you will be entered for the drawing for the next $25 gift certificate, which I will announce after this quarter. So that'll be the first podcast in January. Okay. I wanted to let you know, before I show you everything that's going to be up in the shop update tomorrow evening, I just want to let you know about a new addition to the shop, and that is a special order request form that I've added. Up until this point, pretty much, all 7 years that I've been in business, I have accommodated special requests just however they came in. Sometimes people email me, sometimes people message me on Ravelry. I've gotten, direct messages through Instagram, which is about the worst way possible to try to get a hold of me because that's a very unreliable way for me to keep track of things. Anyway, I've gotten, order requests a lot of different ways. And I'm always happy to accommodate special orders if I'm able to. But I've been feeling the need to be able to keep track of them a little bit better. And so what I've done is I've created a form. It's a Google form, but I've embedded it on that page in the shop. So if you go to the shop, in the right-hand side, there's the sidebar. Unless you're on your phone, then I'm sure it looks different. At any rate, in the menu, towards the bottom, there's a link that says special request or special order request. Click on that, and that will take you to a page that will explain how I'm handling the special orders, and there's a form. All you need to do is fill out your name, your email address. I ask for your Rav name. You can put that or not. It doesn't really matter. I definitely need your email address. And lastly, there's a spot for you to tell me what you would like to order. So basically tell me colorway, what yarn you want it on or fiber, and how many of them that you want. You can order one or however many of whatever you want to order. Basically, once you submit that form to me, then I will respond to you, let you know prices for what it is that you want, and just verify that I have the order correct that you want. Once you've confirmed that all that's right and you're good with the price and everything, I will put reserved listings up in the shop for you for each item that you want to order. And then you can purchase that from there. And once you've purchased it, that's a pre-order and your item will ship in 4 to 6 weeks. And yeah, it'll all be taken care of that way. The best part about this is that I will be able to keep track of my special orders in one specific place through this form now. And things will not risk falling through the cracks, which sometimes has happened. Not often, but it's always a fear of mine that that's going to happen. So in order to avoid that and just in order to streamline the whole special order process, I think this form is going to be a good idea. So that said, if you have something that you'd like to special order, please go ahead to the shop, click on that special order request link, fill out that form, and I will reply to you usually within the same day. It may take more than that, like over the weekend or something, but I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And then we can get you set up with your special order. I will note, and it does say that on the page too, that I do offer a 10% discount if you order 5 or more items in a special order. It does not have to be 5 of the same exact thing or anything, but 5 or more items I offer 10% discounts on. Yeah, I think that's everything that I wanted to tell you about that. So let's get on to the shop update. Tomorrow's update, again, Friday, October 6th at 6 p.m. And it's a little bit of an odd update for me just because there's absolutely no self-striping going up this time. Usually there's at least a little bit, but none this time. Instead, what I've got for you, though, is I have 5 colorways that I have never had in the shop before. They're prior exclusive colorways that I had for a club, as well as some kits that I've done. They were kit exclusive, so this is the first time that they're being offered in the shop. And then I've got a bunch of sock blanks I'm going to show you. And then lastly, I have that luxury fiber that I showed you a podcast or two ago, the camel and silk, and the yak down and silk. So those dyed up so cool. I can't wait to show you. Anyway, that's what's going to be in the shop this week. So let me get started. I'm going to start with the yarn. And the first three colorways, these were the colorways that I dyed up for my Killarney Collection Club last year into this year. These colors were all inspired by the canoe trip my husband and I took through Killarney Provincial Park up in Ontario last fall. It was just beautiful. I could have come up with dozens of colorways from that trip, but these are the three that I came up with, and I love them, and I hope you will too. These are all variegated and speckled colorways. And I will tell you now, I'm only going to show you one skein, but I have dyed all 5 of these colorways up on Bounce, Bedazzled, and Cozy. So all 3 of them will be available in the shop, but I'm just showing you one of each just to save space because I don't have a lot of space to sit stuff in here. Okay, so the first colorway that I did for the Killarney Collection Club was called Shortcuts and Mushrooms, and it was inspired by the portage trails that we had to take in between the lakes that we were paddling. Some of them were short, some of them were longer and more arduous, but they were all really cool because there was so much pretty vegetation. But one of the things that really, really appealed to me were mushrooms. There were so many really brightly colored, just vibrant mushrooms, more so than I ever find around here. And so that's what this was inspired by. This is Shortcuts and Mushrooms, and just all those bright colors that I saw in all the mushrooms as we were hiking those trails, carrying our boat and belongings on the portage trails, which is where the shortcut part comes in. So this is Shortcuts and Mushrooms. The second colorway I did for that club was inspired by the night that we camped on a little island. There was only one campsite on this island, and it was in Harry Lake, and it was a beautiful night. It was very clear. It was quite chilly, but it was very clear, and the sky was just gorgeous as the sun set. It went from that dark blue through that gradient of lighter blues down to the horizon where it gets white, and then you get that, you know, the pops of red and gold and peach kind of going in through the horizon right after the sun sets. It's still there. It was so pretty. We also heard wolves that night. All night they howled. It was awesome. The wolves aren't a part of this colorway. I just thought I'd mention that. But anyway, this is the colorway. So it is just a variety of those dark blues to lighter blues going into the white, and then you have the pops of color from the leftover setting sun in there. Okay, and then the third colorway was inspired by some paddling we did later into the trip. There were a couple of lakes that had a lot of marsh. It was a marshier area, and there were a lot of aquatic plants in the water, like a lot of lily pads and flowers and other, I don't know if they were a type of lily pad. I'm not really sure what they were, but they were very cool and very, very colorful. And when you looked out on these lakes, you saw, you know, on the surface, you could just see the bright greens and yellows of the lily pads and some of the flowers that were still there. And then as you got closer, you could look into the water. Underneath, there were these bright, like rusty red kind of plants that were much more fuzzy, and, you know, browns and yeah, that earthy red. It was so pretty. So that is what this was inspired by. So you've got a lot of that real bright green and yellow and gold from the plants that you could see on top of the water, and then those speckles, that is those tinier plants that we could see under the water as we were paddling through. It's just super fun. In those listings, I will put the inspiration pictures so that you can see that as well. And I'll try to include a little bit of the story of the colorway as well. But I just wanted to show you those. The other 2 colorways are the ones that were exclusive to the KAL kits that I put out earlier this year. That was a collaboration project I did with Sarah Jordan, who designed the KAL. Karamia is Greek for the word pottery, and that was her inspiration for the design of the cowl. It was a colorwork cowl, and I dyed up 2 different colorway sets for this cowl. There was a variegated and speckled one, and then there was a semi-solid. I've not dyed the semi-solid because it was just a semi-solid, but I have done the two variegated colors for the first time for the shop. So the first one I did was called Thasala, which is Greek for sea, and it's got a lot of these deep sea blues and greens and teals with darker speckles of those same colors. So this is almost more of a tonal than a variegated. But this is the first one. And then the second one was called Krasi, which is Greek for wine. And it has this Merlot color in it, and then a burgundy and a brown. There's a green too, which is more like the grape leaves than the actual wine itself. But this is definitely a variegated, and then it has, you know, deeper speckles of those same colors as well. So that is those are the 5 colorways that I'm introducing into the shop for the first time. I love them all. I hope you will too. Next up is sock blanks. And I think I mentioned this last time I recorded that I have started a new sock blank way of dyeing sock blanks, and I love how they're turning out. They're basically mirrored gradients, going from a very dark color at both ends of the sock blank up to a lighter color. So here's the first one I'll show you. So they start very dark, and then they work their way up through that gradient until it's very light in the middle. So with these, you could definitely knit like a mirrored pair of socks. Do the first one cuff down and the next one toe up, and you would have matching socks. This one was done actually with this my fuchsia color, but because there's gray mixed in the darker area, it actually turned out to be a sort of a lighter orchidy color as it went through, which I think turned out really neat. But since I had the fuchsia, I used fuchsia for some of the speckles. So this is probably the one that has the most contrast out of all of these. But there are 2 of these, and I did each of these. I did one on a speckle or a sparkle blank and one on a non-sparkle blank. So there will be 2 of each of them, just on different blanks. So that's the one, and then I have a darker purple one, less pink, more purple. But again, starts dark, works its way up to a very light purple with the coordinating speckles. And then I have the blue, which is that new semi-solid color that I did last week, denim. I used that color for this one. So I love this color. This is becoming one of my new favorite dye colors, I think. I may need to dye something up to make myself out of this color. Then there's a green one, which is it goes from a darker green up into a really bright lighter green. That's sort of blowing out there. I know I always say that, but I think it is. Anyway, green. And then lastly, I'm going to show you both of them because these dyed up very differently between the regular blank and the sparkle blank. This was one that I used the Tangelo, my new Tangelo color. As it mixed with the gray, it actually ended up being a brown. So it came up through here, but then you definitely get more of that peachy kind of orangey color up in through the lighter areas. So that's how it dyed up on the regular blank. In the sparkle blank though, it did this much browner version, which I like browns. But I just wanted to show you because it is quite different. So it's still dark to light, but it's just a darker version of that. Same color, just how it turned out though. Okay, so that's all the yarn, all the sock blanks. Now let me show you the fiber. Here, I need to move this stuff. Okay, sit that on the couch over there. And now I'm going to show you the fiber. So a couple weeks ago, I showed you the undyed fiber. It was baby camel and silk, a 50-50 blend, and then I had Tibetan yak and silk, a 50-50 blend. They are very, very luxurious fibers. They're just beautiful. They're so soft. If you've ever worked with just a pure silk fiber or a very high content silk fiber before, you know how slick it is. This is not, neither of these are fibers that I would recommend for a very beginning spinner. You're going to be challenged beyond what might be comfortable for you. I mean, I'm not saying don't buy it, but I'm just saying, if you have not had experience spinning with any kind of silk or very slippery fiber before, this might not be what you want to do. But if you are a more experienced spinner and would like to, like just even an intermediate spinner, if you've been spinning for a while, this might be really fun for you. Plus, it's just beautiful. I cannot get over how lovely these were to work with. My only downside to dyeing high silk content fibers is that number one, the silk is quite flyaway. I mean, I can see it as you work because the camel fiber is also quite short stapled. I have spun camel before, just camel, and it's like a downy fiber, so there's not a lot of staple length to it. The yak seemed to be a little bit longer. I've never spun yak before, but it seemed to have a little bit more tenacity and holding together with the silk. The camel and silk was definitely quite slippery just to work with, even to dye it. So anyway, this is the camel and silk, which was obviously a lighter color because the natural is sort of a light caramely color, and then the silk is just white. So all of these, you're going to see the color that I've dyed it, over dyed it. You'll still see some of the natural color of the camel or the yak in them, and then a little bit of the silk is probably lighter than other parts of the silk, but they're beautiful. So this is one of the camel and silk that I did in a gold and a green. I can't describe, I wish we had feel-o-vision, that you could just feel how soft this is. These are all roughly 2-ounce braids. I will be weighing all of them and listing them as exactly what they are in the listings because, as I said, this was very soft to work with, and some of it just sort of fell apart on me. So some of them are probably a little less than 2 ounces, but they'll all be priced accordingly. So anyway, this is the camel and silk with the gold and green. I'm not going to give these colorway names because these are not going to be repeatable, and I will not probably ever have these fibers in my shop again either. So these are sort of limited edition, one-of-a-kinds here for you. All right, next up is a blue, which I used the electric blue in this one. And you can see the lighter areas where the dye just didn't take. But that blends in so lovely whenever you spin it. And that's also on the camel. And there's this one that I did. I believe I used the Sakura pink on this one. So this is, again, the camel, the lighter blend. I'm trying to find a good area. Like right here, you can still see some of the camel, like that real pale caramely color. It's just such lovely fiber. And lastly, then there is this one, which is the rhodochrosite color that I have in there. That was that pinky purple color that I said, I need a name for that. And my husband looked at it and he's like, it's pink. I'm like, no, it's not pink. It's like a pinkish purple. I said, I know you know some sort of gemstone or something that has this color. He's like, yeah, rhodochrosite. And I'm like, that's a really long name. He's like, rhodochrosite. I'm like, okay. Which actually, I have a rhodochrosite necklace he gave me one time. And I did actually think of that, but I thought, it's a really long name. Anyway, so rhodochrosite is this one. Okay, and then the other ones, the Tibetan yak and silk ones, they are definitely darker, but just beautiful. I love these striations. And this one you can definitely see the undyed fiber parts a little bit better than with the camel, because the camel was so light. But here's a green one, and like right here, you can still see that, you know, that medium brownish color there, that minky kind of brown. So there's a green one, which is a bright green. It's looking blown out to me, but maybe it'll definitely show up more accurate in the pictures in the listings. Then there's this one, which is raspberry, and you can definitely see the yak color there. Actually, and I also used gray in this, so this is raspberry and gray on the darker yak color. And then this one is Merlot. Merlot and silver, I believe. I used some silver in this one. And lastly, peacock blue on the yak. So I would love to keep these and spin them myself. I don't super enjoy spinning like high content silk high silk content fibers all the time, but these are so pretty. I think I like the pieces that I kept for myself were like the leftover pieces, and I was just going to spin them up undyed, but after seeing how these dyed up, I think I'm going to have to dye mine up in some colors before I spin them, because I just love the way these fibers took the dye. I mean, it's not a consistent full color taking, but because of the blends, the way they dyed up are just lovely. So anyway, like I said, I am probably not going to have these fibers in my shop again. It's kind of just a weird fluke that I had them to begin with. And the colors are not repeatable because I won't have the fiber. I mean, the colors dyed up on this fiber differently than they'd dye up on any other fiber at all. So anyway, that's everything that's going to be in the shop tomorrow. Again, don't forget about the special order listing if you want to order a special order. I will just say, if you order a special order, well, it's not a direct order. So if you send me a special order form and I put your reserve listing up, if you buy your reserve listing along with in-stock items, everything will get held until your special order is ready. So unless you're not in a hurry for it, that's fine. But if you want the in-stock stuff first, then I would suggest doing separate orders there. But anyway, if you have questions about any of this or anything, let me know. I will be putting all of this stuff up in the shop later today and tomorrow for the update, and that's everything. I think I've covered it all. I feel like this is going to be sort of long. Again, timestamp menu is always there. But anyway, the shop update tomorrow, the 6th at 6 p.m. And I'm not sure if I'm going to have another full update or not before I have my show, because I have a show in just a little over 2 weeks. So there's probably not going to be another full update before my show, which that is the Rags Festival in Delmont, the Fiber Festival and Wool Market, which is the 21st of October from 10 to 4. So if you're in the area, please come by. It's a lovely show. I had such a good time vending at that the last time. Yeah, but I will obviously have, you know, an update after the show with my orphans, the show orphans, and I do have one other update thing that I know I'm going to put in the shop before the end of October, and it's another bag and coordinating yarn offering. I only have 10 of them, so it's going to be a very small one, but it's going to be really fun. I can't wait to show you these, and that's all I'm going to say about that now, but that's coming. You know, before the end of October, you'll see that. All right, that's everything. Have a great rest of your week and your weekend, and I will talk to you later. Bye.